What's going on, guys? Super Insane 18 here, and today I am bringing you my ban list prediction video. Now, we're probably not going to get the list for another month to a month and a half. We did just complete the North American Championship. I believe there's still the European Championship, so we're probably not going to get it till after that. I think we'll end up getting it the same time we usually do, about a couple of weeks after when Worlds should have been, so probably around mid to end August. Plus, we've only had this current list for 2 months, so it's a little bit too soon, but I'd rather be early than late, because a lot of times I want to make my prediction and then I just don't get it out in time, so we're going to go ahead and do it now. Jumping right into things with the first card that we are predicting to be Forbidden. Honestly, at this point, it kind of just feels more like a wish than an actual prediction, but that card is going to be Artifact Scythe. Scythe is just one of those floodgates that says you are not allowed to play the game, and pretty much it's game over if Scythe actually resolves. Yes, there are ways that you can stop it, and it isn't really that difficult. You can Call by the Grave it, you can DD Crow it, you can Bell it, you can Chalice it, you can Droplet it, you can Imperm it. There are so many different ways that you are able to stop it, but when it does resolve, it is literally just a game over button, and I feel like none of those cards should exist in this game. I think that a card that says your opponent just automatically loses is not fair, and it doesn't promote healthy gameplay, so I really want to see it banned. A lot of people are going to say just ban Dagda, because then you really can't facilitate Scythe as easy, but I don't think that that's necessarily the answer, because there are still other ways to get Scythe out on the board, such as the archetype-specific Artifact Sanctum, and I'm sure that if all else fails, somebody's going to find a way to do it, so let's just ban the actual problem, not the card that gets you into the problem. Scythe really needs to go. Second card that I definitely want banned is going to have to be Mystic Mine. This card is absolutely toxic, so much so that I might actually make a fully dedicated video just to why this card needs to be banned by itself, and honestly, I think it goes without saying, but for those of you that don't know, this card is another one of those your opponent is not allowed to play the game cards. Especially more recently, a lot of players have been activating Mine going second after baiting a full field of negates, and then looking their opponent dead in the eye and saying, you have less cards in your deck than me because you went first, I'm not going to summon for the rest of the game. If you don't main deck and out, I just win for free, and I don't think that that's healthy for the game. Not to mention, if you look at some of the transcripts of a lot of the recent YCSs or championships, you'll see multiple turns of both players just sitting under a Mystic Mine and 15 turns passing of draw, pass, draw, pass, draw, pass, and I just don't think that that's fun gameplay. I don't think anybody does. I can't think of a single person that likes playing under Mine other than the people that play it, so honestly, it really just needs to go. Not to mention that this is the only possible way that they could hit Sky Striker, because Sky Striker has won, what was it? It was either YCS Hartford or Charlotte, I don't remember which one. It just took second place at the North American Championship, so it definitely needs a hit, but they're not going to hit any Sky Striker cards because there is a set coming out in November of this year that has new Sky Striker support, so the best way that they can hit it indirectly would be to finally get rid of Mystic Mine. It has been 3.5 years of this garbage card. Please just throw it in the trash can, Konami. The third card that we are going to predict to be Forbidden is going to be the Chaos Ruler, the Chaotic Magical Dragon. This card just generates so much unfair advantage. Not only does it let you dump cards to the grave, but among those cards it lets you add a light or dark that you dumped. Then it can also reborn itself, making it usable for multiple extra summons, whether it's linking, XYZ, Synchro, doesn't matter. You can get rid of it, bring it back, use it for another material, and honestly, in some scenarios like the Punk deck, when you bring it back, you can use it for an XYZ, and then it won't even have the hindrance of being banished, meaning you can just do it again next turn. So this card just generates way too much advantage. I know a lot of people want it banned. I personally don't think that it needs to be banned, but I can definitely see it happening. The card is absolutely crazy, so let's go ahead and predict that it is going to be gone. And the fourth and final card that we are going to predict as Forbidden is going to have to be Crystron Halki Fibrax. It is about time. There are no more tuners that we can ban justifiably. This card has so many cards hit on the list because of it, so let's go ahead and just throw it away. I don't think anybody would be upset if Halk is finally banned. It's been, what, about 2 years now that we've had this card, and I think that's long enough. It facilitates just some degenerate plays and degenerate combos. Definitely one of the strongest link cards ever printed, and it definitely needs to go. Moving on to the limited list, with Halk gone, I think that we can unban all of the tuners that have died for its sins. This means we can bring back Blackwing Steam the Cloak, Glow Up Bulb, and Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lion. These cards on their own are not really degenerate. What made them degenerate was the ability to just summon them for free from your deck with Halqifibrax. So with Halqifibrax gone, I see absolutely no reason for these cards to continue being banned. Plus, I'm personally a huge fan of Glow Up Bulb. There are a lot of strategies that I want to use with Glow Up Bulb, so hopefully that does come back. That's honestly more of a wish than a prediction, but if Hulk does get banned, I can absolutely see these cards coming back. Now, next on the list, we have Magispector Unicorn Kieran. This is honestly a card that I don't know why it's still on the list, because we have other cards that are legal that do the same exact thing and aren't a problem. Like, we have Altergeist Siliquidus, which is essentially a Kieran for the Altergeist strategy, so I don't really see this card being an issue, especially because Siliquidus can come back every turn as well, with the loop with the manifestation, because that could be the only argument, is that Kieran can return every single turn, but I don't see that as an issue, because honestly, it just isn't. Plus, we have Pendulum support with the new Draco Slayers coming out around the corner, so I think that Konami is going to want to do something to boost the Pendulum archetype, and I don't think that they're going to bring back Electromite. I know in my past videos I've said, you know, they're going to bring it back because we've had Pendulum support, but they've shown us that they're not, so let's go ahead and test the waters with Kieran. Now for the last monster on our limited list, this one might come out of left field for you guys, but it's definitely something that we need to talk about, and that is going to be Sword Soul Strategist Longyuan. Now, the reason I think that this card is going to go to 1 is a little bit convoluted, but let me explain. Sword Soul just won the North American Championship and is definitely going to warrant some kind of hit. But that being said, there's absolutely no card in the Sword Soul archetype that is unfair in any way, shape, or form. That's personally why I've never respected the deck, because it just doesn't feel like it's good enough. So I don't think that there's anything worth hitting in the deck. But, I mean, there has to be something. It's going unpunished, so something needs to go, and I think it's going to be Longyuan because it is the second best Sword Soul. The first best Sword Soul obviously being the Moyi, because Moyi will get you into your Chijiao and then also get you a draw. The problem with that is in the same set that we are getting that Scry Striker support that I mentioned earlier, we are also getting a Moyi reprint, and that is not until November, so there's no way that they're going to hit the Moyi, which makes the Longyuan the next best candidate. On to some extra deck monsters that I think are going to come back. The first one is going to be Linkross 2-1. Maybe this is just me being ignorant and not knowledgeable, but without Halqifibrax in the format, I don't see anything degenerate that Linkross can do. The tokens that it summons are not able to be used for a Link material, so without the tuner that you get off of the Halqifibrax, I'm not sure of any combos that can break Linkross. You guys are probably going to tell me some in the combos, but I think, or in the comments, but I think that it can definitely come back if Hulk is gone. And on that same note, we can also bring back the Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon. Without Hulk in the game, I don't see any way of this really being abusable, so let's go ahead, test the waters, putting it at 1. If Hulk is banned, absolutely bring it back. And for the final card that is going to be limited to 1 is a card that has been banned for a very long time, and that is going to be Spellbook of Judgment. Now, I don't really think that this card needs to stay banned, so I think we can test the waters at 1, and it's a little weird that they just reprinted Jowgen of all cards, which was very popular in the Spellbook strategy, so I think that might be a hint towards Spellbook of Judgment coming back. We'll see though, this is just kind of one of those out of the blue predictions. We'll see if I'm right. I definitely think we can test it at 1. I lied, there's actually one more card that I am going to put on the limited list. I completely forgot about this when writing my list, but that is going to be Rite of Aramasir. Now, I know that people are thinking that both Water Enchantress and Rite are going to go to 2, but I think Rite to 1, leaving Enchantress at 3 is the better call, and let me explain why. The reason I think that this is better is because ultimately it still leaves you with the same number of copies of 4 Rites, because whether you have 2 Enchantress and 2 Rite or 3 Enchantress and 1 Rite, you have to remember that Enchantress is able to get your Rite from the graveyard as well as the deck, so by having that kind of 3 and 1, you're still limited to 4 copies. Now, the reason I think it is more fair for 3 Enchantress and 1 Rite is because Enchantress is able to be stopped with hand traps like Ash Blossom or Ghost Bell, whereas Rite isn't. So that makes it a little bit easier to stop, as well as the ability to just go Water Enchantress, they Ash it, you open the Rite, activate Rite anyway. It just kind of lowers that consistency, so I think that is the right ratio of adventure cards, so let's go ahead and put Rite to 1. On to the semi-limited list, I think that we are going to get back one of the 2 dangers on the list, either Jackalope or Tsuchinoko. I don't think it's going to be both, because I think they're not going to want to just open the floodgates yet. I think they're going to want to test the waters. I don't see any need for these cards to remain at 1. Dangers are doing absolutely nothing, so let's go ahead and bring one of those back. Next is just kind of the trend that we've been seeing of cards being limited, doing absolutely nothing, and then going to the semi-limited before eventually becoming unlimited, and that is going to be Performapal Monkey Board. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. When this came back on the last list, I thought it was a huge mistake. Monkey Board is an absolutely incredible card for the Pendulum strategy, but I haven't seen anyone use it. I mean, maybe other than Triff. I think there was one guy at my locals that played Pendulums for about 20 minutes until he gave up on it, so I just don't think Monkey Board is really an issue, which is surprising to me because I remember the horror stories of Pepe back in early 2016. I remember it getting the emergency ban list treatment, so saying that this card can definitely come back is a little bit weird to me, but I don't see it doing anything, so let's go ahead and bring that to 2. Next is going to be another trend that we've been seeing of them releasing these Salamandrake cards, so I think that Salamandrake Gazelle is going to be coming to 2. We see that Mirage, Thalio, and Circle went back to 3 on the last list and still haven't really done anything. I mean, you've maybe seen it at your locals a little bit, and maybe it's taken top cut at your locals, but it hasn't done really exceptionally well at any big events, so I don't see any need for Gazelle to still be at 1. Let's go ahead and throw that at 2 as well. Next is going to be Yatagarasu, because this card did absolutely nothing. This is one of those cards, it's been banned since the ban list existed, and it finally came back on the last list. There was a little bit of memes around it where some people were trying to play it in Floowandereeze, and honestly, it just isn't good. Like, this card could come to 3, but I don't think Konami's going to do that. I think they're going to put it to 2 and then eventually unlimited as well. But Yatagarasu is honestly just not a good card anymore. The ability to actually use it effectively is just never going to come up in today's Yu-Gi-Oh! It has been so hilariously power crept that you could put this card at 10 and it even doesn't matter. And finishing up the semi-limited list, we have either Change of Heart or Mind Control. Change of Heart is one of those cards that, again, I thought was a huge mistake coming off the list, but I haven't even seen a single person play it. So, I mean, I tried it myself. I put it in my side deck for Floowandereeze, and there was never a moment where I even wanted to side it in. I don't think that both of these cards are going to come back at the same time. I think they're going to do one or the other. But if you haven't noticed, trying to play going second in the format has been less than favorable, so putting one of these up to 2 is definitely a way to kind of combat those going first unbreakable board strategies. So let's go ahead and test the waters, either one of these back to 2. Honestly, we could probably go to 3, but again, I don't think Konami is going to just open the floodgates. I think they're going to slowly ease their way back up to unlimited. And now with the Unlimiteds, we are just going to be bringing things back that don't need to be there anymore based on the other predictions in this list, and first off, that is going to be Red Rose Dragon. If Halki Fibrax gets banned, I don't think Red Rose Dragon is an issue in any way, shape, or form, so let's go ahead and bring that back to 3. The only real reason that it's any form of good is because Hulk is able to just summon it for free from your deck. Other than that, you're pretty much going to have to waste your normal summon on it, and unless you're specifically playing a Rose Dragon deck, that's really not worth it, so let's go ahead and put it to 3. And in the same vein as that, we are going to be putting Shooting Riser back to 3. Putting this card to 1 was hilarious. There were only maybe 3 people in the entire world playing more than one copy of it anyway, so limiting it to 1 was along the same lines as limiting Hulk, who was playing more than 1 anyway, so without Hulk in the format, this can definitely go back up to 3 because there's nothing that's just going to summon it during the opponent's turn to then abuse it to make other synchros, so we can put it back to 3. I don't think it'll be an issue. Sure, people will still play it to Foolish Burial things like Snow or Token Collector, but on its own, that's not really broken. The real brokenness of it is being able to summon it during your opponent's turn, lower its level, and then synchro into something else. And with Mystic Mine banned, there is no need for Metaverse to stay banned. I can't think of a single good field spell to activate during the opponent's turn. Obviously, there are some niche ones, like maybe if you're side decking a copy of Necro Valley against graveyard-reliant decks, but honestly, Metaverse being at 3 is not an issue if Mine does not exist, so let's go ahead and just put that back to 3. Then we have Dynamite Knight from the True Draco strategy. Honestly, it's just going to be the trend of slowly moving things up the list. It went to 2, nobody's playing True Draco, bring it back to 3, nothing else needs to be said. Now, I think Fire Formation Tenki is going to come back to 3 because even putting it back to 2 did not give Tri-Brigade the boost that it needed. Tri-Brigade has been power crept enough to where the point is, it's still a good deck, and obviously we've seen it still do relatively well, but I don't think it's a big enough problem that Tenki still needs to be limited or semi-limited. They put it to 1, they brought it back to 2, hasn't really done anything, let's bring it back to 3. Now, this next one, again, is a little bit out of the blue, but it's going to be Fusion Destiny. We just had the announcement of the Starlight DPE, so I definitely think that they're going to want to push that, not to mention the other hero support coming out in Power of the Elements. With Verte gone, I think Fusion Destiny at 3 doesn't really matter, so let's go ahead and bring it back. It's going to push those hero strategies that they are trying to push with this new set, and that's honestly what Konami wants to do, so let's go ahead and see it at 3. Next we have Trickstar Light Stage. Again, this card went to 2 and did absolutely nothing, so we don't really need to explain it any further than that. Let's go ahead and bring it to 3. And finishing things off, we have Wall of Revealing Light, which again came to 2 on the last list and did absolutely nothing. This card is so irrelevant, I honestly don't even know the effect, so let's go ahead and bring it to 3. I don't think it's going to cause any issues. And there you guys have it. That is going to be my prediction for the banned list, or Forbidden and Limited list, that we are getting probably mid to late August. I can't see it being any longer than that, but hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, you know the deal. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, share with your friends, and maybe consider supporting me on Patreon. For just $1, you could support the channel in a way that I would never be able to tell you how much I fully appreciate. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Oh, and one last thing. Free the sea.